All right, so the Utah-Stanford game is just wrapping up. I'm going to talk a little bit about all the wildness that happened in the Pac-12 today as well. But first, let's talk about Utah and Stanford. So, the game's not fully over yet, but it's pretty clear the Utes are about to win. So, a lot of good in this game. Early on for Utah, things didn't look great, right? Quite a bit of hiccups. And one thing someone pointed out to me on Twitter, but it's been something I've brought up before, that I don't love that we do it so much to start off games. I'm guessing it's, something they game plan, but they throw a lot of what I would call 30-20 balls, right? Like basically there's a 50% chance nobody catches it, but then there's a 30% chance your receiver catches it and a 20% chance that the DB can make a play on it, right? And what I'm talking about those passes down the sideline where Cam just shoots it up, way too far. And that seems obvious to me that is part of the game plan. Like that is something they are working on and they implement into the game. I don't know why. Maybe that helps them do something later on, loosens up the defense. But I'm just saying, I don't love how many of those shots we take. It really feels like sometimes that can be unnecessary. But I'm not going to harp on that. Good win tonight. I thought Stanford at times looked like a decent squad. But either way, though, really good job by Utah. So let's talk about some guys for Utah that really killed it. First, Tavion Thomas. Tavion went off. I was hoping he would have a big game, and he definitely did. He was able to take advantage of a bad run defense and make a statement. Tonight, the Tavion that we saw looked like the Tavion from last year's team. Just straight up went out there, made a statement, and looked like a special player. That was really cool to see. 100 yards, really, really good game. 100-plus yards. Really looks like a good player, guys. It was really cool to see that. It was something I thought was going to happen tonight. But you guys know just as well as I do that, throughout the whole season, it just hasn't really been there. So it was pretty cool to see it finally click for him for a full game. I really enjoyed that, and I thought that was really cool. The other guy that I think deserves a shout-out is Cam Rising. The stats, he didn't look great early on, but don't forget he's coming back from an injury, still getting loosened up. But as the game got going, Cam really started to loosen up, and, he had 3 touchdowns. He had the 1 pick, but don't forget about all these touchdowns. And a lot of the big plays, he had 1 or 2 to Vele that were like big throws, jump balls sort of thing. He also had some other balls he shouldn't have thrown, right? He had ups and downs. But in general, he did a really good job as we settled in, got the run going, of taking what they were giving him, right? The little out routes, the little flat routes, they were there. He took advantage of it, and he did what was available to him. And I thought it looked good. It feels good going into Oregon that Cam had a pretty good game. So that's how I'd put that. The other group that really deserves a shout out is this offensive line. These guys came in and punched people in the mouth, dude. They threw around the Stanford D line in the run game and really made a statement. I felt like we could run, they were stacking the box quite a bit and really daring us to throw. But we stood in there tall, threw them around and really established the run game. I thought that was awesome to see, and I thought the O-line really impressed me tonight. So that was super cool. And then I got a stack here of honorable mentions from the game. Devon Vele, a bunch of nice catches. Really good game by him. He made plays when they were there. And 1 or 2 good returns as well. So I did a great job. Nate Johnson, played a small role in the game, but again, for another week, looks really, really good. Nate Johnson is probably the starting quarterback next year, just so we're all on the same page. When I see him out there getting snaps and taking reps, it gets me really excited for the future, guys. He doesn't look like he's going to need another year on the bench. He looks like he could go right now. If we had to start him and that was completely necessary, he'd be ready to go and he would get it done. Clark Phillips, solid game. Had the one bad PI, but I thought that was PI. It's debatable, but it felt like PI to me. But he also had a couple nice pass breakups and overall had a good game. Mekhi Bernard didn't have a great night running the ball. As of this video, he was averaging like 2.2 yards per carry. But he did a really good job being a receiving weapon for this team. Made a bunch of plays as a receiver. Had a touchdown. Real good game by Bernard. Cole Bishop came in the box, made a few plays in the pass rush, and even had a pass breakup. So I thought Cole Bishop, it wasn't like you just saw him making plays every play, but I did think he had a good game. And I think in general, the defense for Utah, there's a bunch of guys I could shout out. I think they did a great job. The defense in general, almost everybody on that squad, Gabe Reed, Jonah Ellis, Samodi Peppa, the whole crew looked pretty damn good. Lander Barton, I saw. Really good game. Really good game for the defense. And one thing I really liked is, they tried to confuse the defense with wide receiver screens and delayed screens, that sort of stuff. And the defense really didn't fall for the traps. They did their thing. They didn't make mistakes, and they played a really clean game. And we kind of got to go back there and tee off, dude. We were really getting in the backfield and making Tanner McKee have a bad night, bro. Like, once we were up big and they had to throw and we could take advantage of that, it was pretty cool to see. So, again, Utah, getting the win over Stanford, really good game for us. I can't imagine anyone nitpicking it too much. Big win. I've seen some people on Twitter when the first part of that game was going, like first quarter, halftime-ish sort of thing. Like, hey, we're not beating Oregon next week. Like, just don't get your hopes up. Like, we're not going to win. And it's like, yo, dude, get out of here. I just want to say about those type of guys that have that type of attitude, I'm not about that. I think that's a negative way to look at things. Is what it is. Do your thing. I just think, we've been a team that starts slow every game. To make those type of statements just seems really dumb to me. Good win for Utah. We looked great tonight. And, I couldn't imagine you wanting too much more from this game. Maybe a faster start, but, the way that third quarter went and how many points we racked up and how good this offense looked and defense looked, what more could you want? All right, now let's talk about some of the games around the Pac-12. Washington State beats Arizona State 28-18. Washington State has looked like a very good team a lot of this season, and the fact that we were able to beat them with so many starters out and really shut down a very explosive offense. Don't forget we beat them 21-17. The better they keep doing, the better it looks for us. So that's good to see. ASU as well has started to become, they're way different now than when we played them. Like when we played them, it was a dumpster fire. But now they've slowly, rebuilt and are looking like a much better team. Oregon State beats Cal 38-10. Solid win there for Oregon State. Big margin win. And we have a win over Oregon State. We have a win over a lot of the good teams in the Pac-12 that are looking pretty damn solid. Washington defeats Oregon 37-34. That's pretty wild, dude. That means we are, there was a little bit of gray area on if we are completely in control of our destiny for the Pac-12 championship. Now we actually are for sure in control of our own destiny. If we win out, we will go to the Pac-12 championship. And what's nice about this is, Oregon can bleed, right? We saw it. A team like Washington, which I believe we're a better team than Washington, was able to go in there and beat Oregon at their home. Really tough thing to do. And if they can do it, why in the world can't we? The Utes are a really, really good team. I see us doing a great job going in there, getting the win against Oregon. And, man, the finish line is right there, dude. And it's going to be a tough one. Oregon is not going to be a cakewalk for anybody. Tough game. The other thing is UCLA and Arizona are tied at the end of the third quarter right now. So just so you guys know, that's a close game, and that if Arizona beats UCLA, that really jumbles things up a little bit about how that Pac-12 championship game is going to go and who's going to go to it. So that could be exciting. You guys will know when I post this video who won there. But either way, wild week in the Pac-12. We'll see what happens. Outside of that, guys, if you haven't already, please make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Just a heads up, next week, Wednesday evening, is going to be the live stream. We are doing a big live stream for the Oregon game. And I feel like this loss that Oregon suffered almost makes it even more exciting, especially for Oregon fans. They'll be a little more into it, right? So next week, Wednesday evening, I've got a stacked lineup of guests for you guys. So if you guys are looking for a cool live stream, I'm going to go for a long time. It'll probably be the longest live stream I've done. So make sure you guys keep Wednesday evening open. I'll look forward to seeing you guys. Like I said, like the video, comment below. Do you guys agree with who I was giving shouts out to? Do you think I skipped over anyone? And make sure you guys subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And outside of that, I'm out of here. Go Utes.